Clump, clump. There's usually a loud noise as I walk. I have had hypertrophy, or one leg being longer than the other, since I was a small child. My leg length disparity required correction, so I was always had to wear a heavy orthotic device. I was the last student to change classes at school, so my mother had to drop me down and pick me up every time rather than strolling with friends. I was unable to join in, despite the fact that everyone else looked to be having a great time. I can't even begin to count how many times I've gritted my teeth in frustration. Thankfully, the procedure proceeded smoothly, and I was able to return the gadget to middle school. However, I remained reclusive until I was an adult because of the bullying I had in elementary school. I was a horrible public speaker and lacked self-confidence. But I reached a turning point. It surprised me that I was put in charge of the sales division because I was the kind of guy who was constantly anxious and had terrible public speaking skills. I eventually grew to like talking to people and started to feel more confident in myself with the support of my more experienced coworkers. Then one day, I got an invitation to a reunion of my primary school. I made the decision to go since I was feeling better. I informed the organizer via email that I would be attending. My name is Kevin. I am a 27-year-old employee of an IT company. I relocated to New York from my hometown and haven't visited my hometown in a long time. Unusually for me, I even bought new clothes for this reunion in my hometown because I was so excited about it. I wanted to show everyone how much I'd changed, even though I knew it was simply dumb pride. I knew that this feeling was probably a remnant of my past inferiority complex. However, wanting to surprise everyone was a huge step forward for me and an indication of my developing confidence. With renewed vigor, I returned to my hometown on the day of the reunion. My hometown was alive with activity, especially at night, something I hadn't seen in a long time. Was it always this animated? I was a little taken aback by how much the town had evolved. As I made my way toward the reunion place, I periodically looked up the address on my phone. As I walked into the bar, I saw that it was already packed with my former classmates. I knew these people only from school, even though they were all my classmates. My last encounter with them was more than 10 years ago. Even my own recollections were hazy, yet a few people appeared to be recognizable. Is that who that is? Is that possible? Just as I was getting through, I felt a sudden tap on my shoulder from behind. Are you correct, Kevin? Long time. No see. You moved to New York, I've heard. How are you doing? Everyone looked around as if that was a signal, and before I knew it, I was encircled. Some had gained weight, some had gotten taller, and some were even starting to worry about thinning hair. Some were unrecognizable without glasses. There was warmth and nostalgia on every face. Nobody made fun of me. As a matter of fact, the majority of the folks I spoke with were kind and encouraging, even if they were merely flattering. They claimed that I cheered up and changed completely. Some even thought I looked cool and called me gorgeous. All of the compliments were quite flattering, but the last one seemed like a throwback to when people were dubbed nerds and introverted. However, I was doing fine and had become friendly with everyone. I think it was the experiences and self-assurance I picked up at work. Though I tried not to show it, I was genuinely giddy with joy. It wasn't only the boys, of course. I think part of the reason I felt so fantastic was that even the girls began to perceive me differently. I used to be quiet in class and keep a low profile when I was in primary school. I therefore felt as though I was in a dream because there were so many girls around. Since getting to the location, I have found myself thinking, I wish I could show this to my younger self multiple times. I was glad to see familiar acquaintances again and had a pint of beer in my hand. But to be really honest, there was one female in particular that I really wanted to see at this reunion. Ashley was her name. The belle of our class was Ashley. She was an extremely attractive girl, almost like someone you'd see on TV, with her big eyes and smooth hair. She was also kind, collected, and impartial toward all. I thought about her a lot when I was in school. I had no friends, therefore she was the only one who came to chat to me and showed that she cared about me. Because of her generosity, I was able to avoid being a chronic absentee from school, and over time, the bullying I experienced decreased. She was practically a lifesaver to me. I decided to pay Ashley another visit so I could repay her kindness. I glanced around nonchalantly, looking for her everywhere. Amidst the excitement and the shouts of women saying, "What have you been up to?" "In long time, no see." Ashley was called out by someone. I quickly turned around and saw a woman in a navy dress standing among some females, her graceful back turned toward me. Based on the recognizable outline, I assumed it had to be Ashley. She had a very unique aura from the rest, even when viewed from behind. I took a deep breath and hesitated before approaching and talking to her. Abruptly, she spun around and flipped her hair. Ashley was the one, without a doubt. Her looks were still youthful, but if anything, she had become an even more elegant and stunning woman. "What about Kevin?" "Ashley. Long time, no see." I approached Ashley and got up in front of her. However, I was uneasy when I was in front of her. I could see burn marks running down her neck from her face, but they were concealed by her hair. They reached out and grasped a glass of wine from her, severely tarnishing her formerly flawless beauty. Since our last encounter, she must have been involved in an accident of some kind. I produced a wide smile, hoping Ashley wouldn't notice and trying not to stare at her scars. With a gentle reply, Ashley said, "It's been a while. How are you doing?" She was obviously aware of what other people thought of her physical appearance, but it was impressive how she chose to ignore the inquisitive looks. I had fallen in love with Ashley then, and she remained the same. It's unbelievable that she showed up at the reunion with that appearance. She has a monstrous appearance. Should I be her, I could not stand it. I heard vicious murmurs coming from behind me. I turned to see a few girls making barely audible remarks about Ashley. Ashley listened to them and remained cool-headed. I think she was used to this kind of thing. I was astounded by the girls' cruelty. Back then, they were good friends of hers. Ashley had changed, but did that make them feel satisfied? I felt a twinge of pain and a building rage. How are you able to utter such dirty things? It doesn't seem like Ashley has done anything wrong. Please don't belittle my fiancé. Out of a protective instinct, I said something ridiculous like, "my fiancé." Was there not a more appropriate way to put it? Though sorry, it was already too late. Now, there was no going back. "What? You weren't even in our conversation. Could you please just leave us alone?" With a contemptuous reply, the females moved on, vanishing like the tide. Ashley gave me an inexplicable look as she seemed relieved to see them go, but also contrite for bothering me. She had an embarrassed, irritated, and depressed look. This was not how I wanted to see her. Ashley said in a quiet voice that only she could hear, "Let's go outside and get some fresh air." It seemed like a smart concept to me. Silently nodding, we both slipped out of sight of the reunion. The full moon appeared taller and more exquisite than normal when it was outside the bar and beneath the chilly winter sky. We located a park close by and took a seat on a bench. An occasional chilly air drifted in. I quickly located a vending machine and purchased 2 hot beverages. Ashley hadn't spoken anything since we got out of the pub. I happily offered her a drink, hoping to lighten her melancholy. "Here, would you like some warm coffee or cocoa?" After expressing her gratitude, she picked out a coffee can and held it in her hands to reheat it without cracking it. "I apologize about the earlier. I overreached myself. I impulsively called you my fiancé because I just wanted to stop talking to them. I had no idea why I had called you that. Maybe I was more inebriated than I realized since I was in a strange place. I was perplexed when Ashley eventually looked up. Kevin, you truly caught me off guard. We've been apart for more than 10 years, and now we're engaged. However, I was glad that you stood up for me against the betrayal. Ashley grinned broadly and replied, "Thank you, genuinely." Instead of reprimanding me, as I had anticipated, she thanked me and grinned broadly. Her compassion was exactly the same as it was in elementary school. Always happy, thoughtful, and not taking anything personally, which left me even more perplexed. I was encouraged by her unwavering strength and curiosity in her whereabouts. Ashley, sensing my thoughts, spoke tentatively at first. "I have to tell you about my scars, Kevin. I sustained these injuries after the cafeteria where I worked caught fire a few years back." She moved her hair aside and revealed the scars to me. There are more scars hidden under my clothes. I could see them well even in the faint moonlight, and I was on the verge of averting my eyes. A senior employee who attempted to shield me from the fire perished when the building fell. She removed me by using her body as a shield. Ashley talked about that moment while crying. She claimed that she was still having dreams about the fire, waking up from them, and finding it difficult to fall back asleep. I can still clearly recall the fire every time I look at my scars. I used to be scared that people would see them, but now I'm just happy to be here. I have to live fiercely in honor of the one who kept me safe from the flames. I haven't been thinking favorably about what happened until recently. I was at a loss for words. She was living so resolutely in spite of the adversity. When I was made fun of and teased for having a disability, I used to think badly of myself. Ashley, though, was making progress and doing her best to deal with reality. I blurted out, "Ashley, you're an amazing person, just like you were back then," out of nowhere. I was encouraged by your usual treatment of me in elementary school. I guess I still have a long way to go, but I thought I could pay you back today. Ashley started crying as soon as I said this. What have I done? I quickly extended a handkerchief to her. I apologize for crying unexpectedly. I make an effort to think optimistically, yet occasionally I wish I could revert to my previous state of mind. I was thrilled to hear that I had changed from you. Ashley answered, "Thank you," grinning despite her tears. Her face was as bright and happy as I remembered it to be, even though she was now at ease. Relieved, I thought back to my own experience of walking with a limp while wearing an orthotic device. During lunch breaks, Ashley would bring my school lunch and carry my textbooks. She would come play games with me inside, sometimes by herself, because I was unable to go outside and run about with other kids. It will surely get better. Even in my most jaded and cynical moments, Ashley was the only one who ever made comments like that about my leg. She gave me encouragement and informed me of the sites we could visit after my leg treatment was finished. Ashley was my constant source of support and encouragement. I wouldn't have been able to resist pessimism and have made it this far in life without her. It was my time now. Like she did for me years ago, I wanted to be the one to help Ashley. I had made up my mind. "Hey Ashley, how are you doing? Would you like to have dinner sometime? I truly hope to see you once more." I had never asked a woman out before, to be honest, but I had nothing to lose. I felt that it would be best to just tell her how I felt. "Are you certain you can go out with someone who has a lot of scars? Would you rather make a date with someone attractive?" Although her response might be interpreted as null, I found it to be more than sufficient. I said, "It's all right. I'm never alone anyhow," I said, displaying my lack of dating experience. Ashley laughed. I was happy to see Ashley laugh aloud for the first time in a long time. We began seeing each other more frequently after that. Unexpectedly, Ashley had also relocated to New York, where she was working and saving money for a procedure aimed at skin regeneration. Ashley brought us modest lunches to eat in the park on our outings. Even though we couldn't afford to travel to fancy places, I was glad to see Ashley's hardworking and modest side. We fell in love with one another right away and began dating. Although the reunion incident and the fact that we were from the same town contributed significantly, we never made the clear statement, "Let's be together," or made our sentiments known. Our time together became second nature to one another. I started to actively consider marriage, which is how I realized how our connection was developing. No matter what, I wanted to be with Ashley for the rest of my life. She always made my life happier with her brightness. Therefore, I wanted to be there for her. It also made more economical sense to live together than apart from each other. That's how I started to envision our future. Then it dawned on me that I hadn't even told her that I was in love with her. Though I'd never told Ashley outright, "I love you," I was very certain we were dating. I also wondered what Ashley thought of me. I felt so insecure all of a sudden. I didn't really know how to handle my feelings because this was my first relationship, but I needed to make sure Ashley and I were compatible. As usual, I was waiting for Ashley in the park one weekend. She seemed a little panicked, as though she believed she was running late. Ashley said, "Sorry I was late." I'd assured her that I had arrived early and she wasn't even late. "Hey, how about we take a trip somewhere else for once? Perhaps to a department shop or another location." "What?" Ashley was taken aback by my idea and responded, "But I made lunch for us." I opened my bag to show me the soft drinks and sandwiches in a plastic container. I proposed that we have lunch on the department store's rooftop. Ashley grew apprehensive as she noticed the strange mood and inquired, "What's going on? Why the abrupt alteration?" I took a long breath, scratched my head, and admitted, "I'd want to purchase you a ring. Although I have never gone to a jewelry store and don't even know what size ring to pick for you, it would seem good if I bent down and took out a ring. I'm sorry, it looks like everything is out of order, but I want to wed you, Ashley, immediately." I wish to purchase a ring for a proposal in the department shop. Ashley froze, mouth agape, then burst out laughing when I said what I intended to say. Even though I knew it was awkward and that she should have been laughing, I started to become irritated when I saw Ashley giggle through her tears. Just as I opened my mouth to say, "Stop laughing," I saw that Ashley was crying. She laughed and wept, saying, "Too late." I was momentarily confused as to what she was saying. "You already said I was your fiancé." Hearing such remarks made me immediately calm down and offer an apology. "Sorry to keep you waiting." Following that, we were formally married and moved in together. Now that we had greater stability in our income, I was able to obtain Ashley multiple procedures. The scars from her burns are significantly less visible now that she has endured the difficult treatments. She grinned and remarked, "Now I can finally wear a wedding dress." I'm grateful to have met Ashley every time I see her beaming smile.